Welcome to my video tutorial on how to get and install Linux on a PC or laptop. In this video I will be installing Linux Mint, which I believe is ideally placed for someone who wants to move from Windows to Linux. It's reliable, it's quite pretty, it's flexible, and it's got a similar layout to Windows. Now bear in mind here that I'm not a super smooth talking video frontman or anything like that. However, I am a good solid computer techie, and I've been using Linux on and off since the mid-90s, making me what I think is quite a reasonably well placed person to take you through the process. So before we roll up our sleeves and dive in, let me give you a brief rundown of the steps that we're going to take. The first thing we're going to be doing is to download the Linux Mint ISO. Once we've done that, we'll download a program called Rufus. We'll then use Rufus to burn the Linux ISO that we just downloaded to a memory stick. We'll then take the memory stick and stick it in the computer that we're installing Linux on and boot from that memory stick, and that will take us into the Linux install, and we'll follow that through, and that's the basic process. So let's get started. Now I would imagine that most people are going to be performing these first few steps on a Windows computer, so I've booted my laptop into Windows for this tutorial, as you can see. So let's open up Firefox and type in Linux Mint and go and get the ISO file. So let's have a look here. So the website we want is this one here, so let's click on that. Here you'll see here a download button, so click that and then click the download button for the Cinnamon edition. It's asking me now to pick it's called a mirror, to pick a place to download from. So I'm in the United Kingdom, so I'm going to select a mirror that's close by. Here we go, United Kingdom. That's got the word fast in it, so I'll have that. So click, and here comes the Linux Mint ISO. So we need to wait for that to finish. I'll fast forward this part of the video. Okay, so the download of the Linux Mint ISO has finished. So we're going to come out of here and we're going to go and find Rufus. So let's open up Firefox and RUFUS, search for Rufus, and we want this website here, rufus.ie, and here's the website. There's lots of adverts all over the place on this website, but you just scroll down to this part here and we click Rufus, whatever version is the latest there, P, which is the portable one, which means you don't have to install it on your computer, you can just run it. So let's click that. Okay, so that's downloaded. So if we come out of here and go into our downloads, you'll see we've got Rufus here. So let's first of all, before you run that, just insert your memory stick into one of the USB ports and then run Rufus. Yes, indeed, we do want to say yes. If you can't see this, I'm not sure my video recording software shows this properly, but basically the user account control window pops up and says, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? If you see that, just say yes, that's fine. And then Rufus appears. So this top bit here allows us to select the memory stick. So you can see my memory stick is a 32 gig memory stick that I've previously used to install Debian. We're just going to overwrite that with the Linux Mint ISO. So select the memory stick, and then down here we want to click the select button, and we want to select our ISO, the Linux Mint ISO that we just downloaded. So let's double click on that, and here we are. I changed this to GPT. Unless you've got an incredibly old computer, GPT is the way to go, and click start. Agree to this, say yes, okay, and this basically says anything on your memory stick will be overwritten and be gone forever. Say okay, and now it's doing its thing. It's writing the ISO to the memory stick. So I will fast forward this and see you in a minute. Okay, so that has burnt the ISO to the memory stick, so we can come out of here now, and we are finished with this. So we're going to take the USB memory stick out of here, and we're going to go over to the computer. Okay, so here we are in front of the computer that we're going to be installing Linux Mint on. The computer is actually a Dell Optiplex 7010. It's an eBay special. I bought it off eBay, very second hand. Cost me 130 quid. I then put in a 250 gig SSD drive, which cost me 30 quid. It's got 16 gig of RAM. It's an old i7. It's a nice computer. It's very, very standard. So what I've got the computer's all plugged into the monitor and the mains and what have you, keyboard and mouse and stuff. It's also got the memory stick that we created in the last step inserted into one of its USB ports, and I've got a network cable plugged into it for the internet. So the network cable goes from the back of the router into the back of this computer, and let's get cracking. I'm going to be we need to boot this computer from the memory stick. So if I just turn it on, it's going to try and boot from the hard drive. So we need to go into a boot menu, and on most Dells it's F12 to get into the boot menu. On other computers it might be different buttons, but you can look that up by typing in your computer make and model and boot menu into Google or DuckDuckGo, and looking to see what key it is. So I'm going to turn this computer on now. I'm going to press F12 and F12 and F12 and F12. Let's see how this goes. Here we go, preparing one-time boot menu, and here is our one-time boot menu. You can see that I've got all sorts of things in here, but basically the one we want is this one here, UEFI USB. So I'm going to press enter on UEFI USB to boot from our memory stick, and this is Linux Mint booting. I'm going to select the top option, which loads Linux Mint from the memory stick. It's called a live CD or a live ISO, so it's going to boot that up now. I might fast forward this a little bit because it takes a minute or so. And here is the desktop. So this is now running Linux Mint from the memory stick. We don't want to do that. We want to run it from the hard drive. We need to install it now onto this computer. So we're going to start by going up here to install Linux Mint icon, double clicking on this, and then we follow it through. This is initiating the Linux Mint install process. And here we go. So let's answer some questions. So where the language is English, continue. I'm English UK, standard UK keyboard, continue. Now we do want to install multimedia codecs. Basically some of the file formats that are in use today, like MP3 as an example, are proprietary and not open source. So Mint gives you an option as to whether to install them or not. I tick yes for that, so we can play MP3s and various other file formats on this computer. So tick the box and click continue. Right, okay, so this is asking us installation type. Let's have a look. This computer currently has Linux Mint da 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 da. What would you like to do? Basically I want to just run one operating system on this computer. It has one hard drive, so it's nice and simple. Erase whatever's on here and install. Install. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes, we are. Continue. Where's our locale? Well, it's set to London. Correct. Continue. So, your name. My name's Richard, so I'm going to type that in. My computer name, I'll call this Mint. Mint test. There we go. Pick a username. Richard is fine. Choose a password. I'm going to choose my password. I'm actually going to say log in automatically, but if I were you, if this is a live system, in fact, let's do what you'll do. So require my password to log in. It's far set up. Yeah, that'll do. Continue. And now it's installing Linux Mint. So this bit will take some time, so I'll fast forward this on the video, so you don't have to sit here and watch it and listen to me rambling on. Okay, so it's that's the install done. It is asking us if we want to continue using Linux Mint on the memory stick, or whether we want to reboot and boot up using the hard drive. So let's do restart now, and once the computer switches off, we pull out the memory stick. So here we are. I remove the installation medium, which is the memory stick. There we go, and press enter. So let's press enter, and now the operating system should boot from the hard drive. We'll see. Here we go. Booting up Linux Mint for the first time. Going to enter my password and press enter. And here is Linux Mint all freshly installed.